Okay, good evening, everyone. Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach. A very happy 72nd birthday to Israel. So glad that you have joined us here tonight in the Zoom room for tonight's program. And yet, I think it goes without saying that while it's so wonderful to assemble in any way, to learn and to be inspired together, and especially to assemble together to celebrate Israel and to hear a remarkable story with tonight's presentation and fabulous presenter, there's still nothing like being together in person. So we continue to daven, we continue to pray for those who are sick, those who are ill because of the coronavirus, that they should have a refuah shalema umehera, speedy recovery, and that we should all, please God, Emir Hashem, be together physically in Israel, in person, soon, and in good health. Tonight's program is generously sponsored by Dr. Russell and Lauren Glahn and family in honor of the continuity and the strength, the koach of Eretz Yisrael, of Israel, and in honor of tonight's speaker, Naftali Aklum. I want to thank you so much, Glahns, for your generosity, for your support. It's support like yours that helps us to continue to provide excellent programming, premier programming, fabulous speakers, and great events here at the Boca Jewish Center. So I thank you both and your family for your incredible generosity. You know, when Israel was founded 72 years ago, it was a barren country with no natural resources, very little water, and more than half of its landmass was desert. The only thing the new country had going for it was the promise of this parcel of land to its people by God Almighty himself to Avram Avinu, as is told us in Parshas Lech Lecha, and the incredible passion, the unrelenting and unwavering courage and natural creativity of its unbelievable people. More than 7 decades later, the Israelis have turned their country into an oasis of technology, an oasis of innovation, with the most startups per capita worldwide and the 3rd highest number of patents per head. Israel has become one of the leading players in the world of high-tech innovation, attracting international giants to its holy shores. From health breakthroughs to technology, to agriculture, the environment, and the arts, science and mathematics, the country's innovations are literally transforming and enriching lives anywhere and everywhere. Israel today is playing a significant role in some of the most important challenges facing our planet, including, but not limited, to finding the cure and vaccine for COVID-19. And Israel, of course, is the holy place. Artseinu Hakdosha, the holy soil where our forefathers, our avos and imahos, where they traversed and where they traveled, where they settled and where they lived and where they inspired. So, where the prophets, they prophesied. On the holy soil where the holy temples, Bais Rishon and Bais Sheni, stood, with the holy stones of its outer walls, the Kotel HaMa'aravi, the western wall, our nation's collective treasure and our symbol of hope, our symbol of connection to Avinu Shebashamayim, to our Father in heaven, and that holy and that spiritual place that inspires each and every one of us so very much, that we treasure. I know that at least for me, that me and my family, when we enter into the land of Israel, we land just even at Ben Gurion Airport, we just breathe the air and we feel inspired, we feel uplifted. And there's a tremendous longing that we all have. And so it is with tremendous opportunity for us in the diaspora, but so immediately connected to our beloved Israel, to celebrate and to appreciate with gratitude and hakaras hatov the great gift of the modern state of Israel. And so tonight's program celebrates Israel, highlights a fabulous and incredible story of a dear friend, and gives us the opportunity to come together, albeit virtual, to do that and to do this as a very strong community. A few years ago, I was invited and very honored to address a Federation audience with Naftali Aklum, and he shared his inspirational story. We quickly became friends, and over the years, we've stayed in touch more or less since then. And so I thought it would be appropriate and fitting to hear an unbelievable person share his riveting and special story, Ethiopian Jews then and now. Naftali was born in Ethiopia in 1979. The following year, in 1980, he and his parents were among the first groups to make Aliyah to Israel via Sudan in what later became known as Operation Moses. His late brother, whom we're going to hear about tonight, was the first Ethiopian Jew to make the journey to Jerusalem via Sudan. And the letter that his brother wrote requesting assistance to make Aliyah, that letter, that very special letter, found its way to Prime Minister Menachem Begin, who then set in motion the remarkable secret operation in which North America Jewry played such a significant and such a vital role. Naftali was raised and educated in Beersheba. He served with extraordinary distinction in the Army, in the IDF as a firefighter. He graduated from Ben-Gurion University in 2008 with a concentration in politics, government, history, and Middle Eastern studies. I would like, Naftali, to take this opportunity to thank you because I know it's a little after 1 o'clock in the morning in Israel right now, and so your Yom Ha'atzmaut continues into the night, but you're being up at this hour. We don't take it for granted. We thank you so very much for being with us, and despite the late hour, I know and trust that you appreciate how much we appreciate you, and you being with us makes our program tonight memorable and remarkable. So, dear friends, here to present Ethiopian Jews then and now, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome my very dear friend, Naftali Aklum, to address us here tonight. Naftali?
Thank you so much, Rabbi Yaakov Giber, for the warm introduction. Thank you so much, Matthew. Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach to all my brothers and sisters in Boca Raton, Florida. It's 1 in the morning here in Israel, but I'm really happy to be here with you and to tell you the story of my family, to tell you the story of my community. And in the next hour, I will inform you more than you know now about the Ethiopian Jews. Before I will start, I would like to show you a movie of the Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, speak about the importance of the story of the Ethiopian Jews to the Israeli society and to Jewish people all over the world. And then we will continue with the lecture.
משפחת אקלום היקרה, אזרחים ואזרחות נכבדים. סיפור עלייתם של יהודי אתיופיה הוא אחד מסיפורי הגבורה המרתקים בהיסטוריה של עמנו. אבל זה סיפור שלא נחשף במידה הראויה לציבור הישראלי. החברה הישראלית אינה יודעת על המנהיגים פורצי הדרך. הם נטלו על עצמם סיכון חיים ופרצו דרך לרבבות של משפחות להגיע לציון. הם יצאו באישון לילה, לעתים עם צרור מטלטלים קטן, צעדו בלילות, מרחק של מאות קילומטרים, תוך התמודדות עם כל הקשיים שבדרך, הקושי הפיזי, ההליכה אל הלא נודע, התקפות של שודדים, רוצחים אפילו, צמא, רעב, מחלות. בני משפחות רבות לא עמדו במאמץ ומתו בדרך. צריך רצון מברזל, חלום וכמיהה לירושלים כדי להתמודד עם כל האתגרים הללו. היה לכם את זה. הייתה לכם כמיהה עתיקת יומין לאורך דורות לציון, כמיהה שדחפה את המשפחות למסע המיוחד הזה. עד היום כמעט לא דובר ולא סופר סיפור הגבורה הזה. אבל כעת יש הזדמנות לתקן. כעת יש הזדמנות להביא את סיפור עליית יהודי אתיופיה כחלק מפסיפס סיפורי העלייה של יהודים מכל חלקי תבל. ללא הסיפור שלכם, מארג ההיסטוריה שלנו חסר. אני רוצה למלא את החסר הזה. אני מבקש להודות ליוזמי הכנס על ההזדמנות להביא לקדמת השיח הציבורי את סיפור הגבורה יוצא הדופן של פרדה יזזו אקלום, זיכרונו לברכה. פרדה היה חלוץ שפרץ יחד עם אנשי המוסד את הנתיב לעלייתם של יהודי אתיופיה לישראל דרך סודן. בעקבותיו באו עוד רבים. כל אחד תרם כמידת יכולתו, אבל המשותף לכולם היה שהם התעלו מעבר לאינטרסים המשפחתיים או האישיים הצרים וסייעו לקהילה כולה. נתינה שכזו, אומץ לב שכזה, אלה ראויים שיהיו מודל לחיקוי לדור הבא של מדינת ישראל. ברכותיי לכם, לכולכם.
My name is Naftali Aklum. I was born in Ethiopia in 1979. I'm the youngest of 12 brothers and sisters, and my family were among the first group to do the journey from Ethiopia to Sudan. Today, we celebrate 72 years of the independence of Israel, our freedom. And we, the Ethiopian Jews, lived in the diaspora more than 2,500 years, and we made our way to freedom by coming here to Israel. A lot of things about the Ethiopian Jews, but one of the main things is that a lot of people don't know the origin of the Ethiopian Jews. How does it happen that we have Black Jews living in a country in East Africa that called Ethiopia for so many years? The answer is there is two versions of how the Ethiopian Jews arrived to Ethiopia. The first version is the version that everyone know and speak about, the version of King Solomon and Queen Sheba. King Solomon, as you all know, was the wisest man on earth, and all the kings and the queens in his time wanted to come have advice learned from King Solomon. Queen Sheba used to control the area that we know today, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Yemen, Sudan, and she also heard about King Solomon. So she came here. She was very appreciate the wisdom of King Solomon, and King Solomon also appreciated the wisdom of Queen Sheba. She was very beautiful, and they fell in love, and they brought a son to the world. His name was Menelik. When Menelik was 14 years old, he told his mother that he wants to know his father more. So he came here. He spent few months here with his father. And after a few months, his father, King Solomon, told him, you have to go back to Cush. You have to go back to your mother. But King Solomon didn't send his son alone. He sent thousands of people back with him to Ethiopia. And some believe that we came out from the thousands of people that King Solomon sent back with his son, Menelik. The second version is the version that speaks about after the destruction of the first temple. We had all the tribes in Israel when King Nebuchadnezzar came and conquered this area. One tribe decided to escape to the south, to Egypt. Now, if you know the Nile River, we have the blue Nile River and we have the white Nile River. The blue Nile River starts in Ethiopia. The white starts in Sudan. This tribe walked through the blue Nile River until they ended up in Ethiopia. And we are speaking about the tribe of Dan. We, the Ethiopian Jews, believe that we are the lost tribe of Dan. Now we are speaking about ancient community that for thousands of years kept Judaism, sometimes with their life, because there was time in the history of Ethiopia that kings and queens wanted to convert the Ethiopian Jews into Christianity, but we kept Judaism, as I said before, sometimes with our life. We're also speaking about isolated community. We never had any relationship with any other Jewish community in the world until the beginning of the 20th century. For example, the Jewish community in Toledo, Spain, always had a relationship with the Jewish community in Casablanca, Morocco. The Ethiopian Jews were isolated. We were so isolated that we thought that we are the only Jews left in the world, and if we will not keep Judaism, Judaism will disappear. I will tell you even more than that. When the first Ethiopian Jews came to Israel in the 80s, some of them were surprised to see that they are white Jews. The same surprise when people see me today in the world and they know that I'm Jew, they are very surprised because for them, Jews are mainly white European, and they don't have a clue that there are black Jews from Africa, from East Africa. So I'm here also to show the diversity within Jewish people. It's not only one type, it's not only white, there are black as well. There is a big diversity within the Jewish people. Jews of Ethiopia, Beta Israel community, as you can see in the PowerPoint. In Ethiopia, the non-Jews used to call us falasha. Now, falasha means a stranger, someone who is not in his land. This is how the non-Jews, the Muslims and the Christian, used to call us. We called ourselves Beta Israel Community. Why? Because we wanted to remind ourselves all the time that we belong to Am Israel. 1973 was a very important year in the history of the Ethiopian Jews. In 1973, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, may he rest in peace, was the first rabbi to say it loud and clear: Ethiopian Jews are Jews by law, and we have to do everything in our power to bring them from Ethiopia to Israel. He was the first one to say it loud and clear. Of course, he relied on big rabbis like Harad Baz, Rabbi David Ben Zimra, the chief rabbi of Jews in Egypt in the 1500. And in 1975, the Ashkenaz chief rabbi, Rabbi Shlomo Goren, also announced that Ethiopian Jews are Jews by law. Now, when you have two chief rabbis, one Sephardi, one Ashkenazi, saying that the Ethiopian Jews are Jews, it means that the government of Yitzhak Rabin in 1975 have to apply the law of return on the Ethiopian Jews, which means now the Ethiopian Jews can take a flight from the capital city of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, to Ben Gurion Airport here in Israel. But the Ethiopian Jews didn't came in 1975. They didn't came in 1976. In the 70s, the Cold War started, and the world was separated into two: countries that follow after the United States of America and countries that follow after the Soviet Union. Israel followed after the United States of America. In Ethiopia, until 1974, we had the last emperor, Emperor Haile Selassie. And in 1974, we also had an army revolution. An officer from the Ethiopian army took control of the country. His name was Mengistu Haile Mariam. And Mengistu Haile Mariam decided that Ethiopia will be a communist country and that she will follow after the Soviet Union. That's explained why Israel and Ethiopia didn't have diplomatic relationship in the 70s. And that's why the Ethiopian Jews were not able to take a flight from Addis Ababa to Ben Gurion Airport here in Israel. 1977 was a very important year in the history of Israel, because in 1977, for the first time, the Likud party won the election here in Israel. And the new prime minister is Menachem Begin. Menachem Begin, one of the first things that he did as a prime minister was to invite to his office the head of the Mossad then, Yitzhak Hofi, and he told him, bring me the Ethiopian Jews. That was one of the first things that Menachem Begin did as a prime minister. He wanted the Ethiopian Jews to come to Israel. But again, there was no way to bring them. By the way, if you ask why Ethiopian Jews usually vote for the Likud, even though it's changed in the last election, is because they remember Menachem Begin and what he did for them. But there was no way to bring them yet. The dictator from Ethiopia, Mengistu Haile Mariam, became a dictator in the years. And when you are a dictator, you will always have individuals or groups that will start to rebel against you. Same thing happened in Ethiopia. There was a group called TPLF that started to rebel against Mengistu Haile Mariam regime. Now in Israel, smart people saw the problem that Mengistu Haile Mariam had, and they saw an opportunity. So they offered him the arm deal. The arm deal, it's a deal between Ethiopia and Israel. The government of Israel is willing to give Mengistu Haile Mariam weapon and advice so that he will be able to fight against those groups. And in return, all you have to do is to let some thousands of Ethiopian Jews to leave the country, in a country that in the 70s had 80 million citizens. Now Mengistu Haile Mariam agreed, of course, to have weapon and advice from a country like Israel that have so much experience in war. And you don't have to pay 1 cent. All you have to do is to let some thousands of Ethiopian Jews to leave the country. Of course, he agreed. But he had one condition. It have to be a secret deal because of the Cold War situation. Everyone agreed. And in 1978, the state of Israel started to send Mossad agents to Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. Now, those Mossad agents are coming to Ethiopia. They don't speak Amharic, the national language. They don't understand the new culture. But the main problem is that they don't know exactly where are the Jews' villages, which means they needed help. One of the people that they were asking help from was this young man, my late brother, Ferede Yazezo Aklum. In the 70s, well, in the 60s, the organization ORT opened school in the villages of the Ethiopian Jews in the northern side of the country to prepare them for the day that they will come to Israel. My brother was a teacher in one of their schools. He had a very good English, and it was very easy for the Mossad agent to communicate with my brother. He had a very good English. The Mossad people told my brother, Ferede, we need your help. We want to give you a list of 200 Ethiopian Jews from the Gondar area. If you will see up north in the map, Ethiopian Jews used to live in the Gondar area and in Tigray area. My brother was teaching in Gondar. In the middle, you can see the capital city, Addis Ababa. They told my brother, we want to give you a list of 200 Ethiopian Jews from Gondar, and we want you to find them and bring them from Gondar to Addis Ababa. My brother understood that 200 Ethiopian Jews are going to fulfill the dream of going back to Jerusalem, and the dream of every Jew in Ethiopia. It's one day to fulfill that dream and to go to Jerusalem. Ethiopian Jews, by the way, have a unique and special holiday. We call it the Sigd. Sigd in Hebrew, it's Gida. And 50 days after Yom Kippur, Ethiopian Jews used to climb up to a high mountain with our spiritual leader, the Kesim. And in the mountain, we used to fast and pray the whole day, asking God one thing: take us back home to Zion, take us back home to Jerusalem. And in the evening, we used to go down from the mountain, having a big celebration and a big dinner. This holiday shows the longing of the Ethiopian Jews to Jerusalem. So when my brother understood that 200 Ethiopian Jews are going to fulfill that dream, he told the Mossad people, I'm willing to help, I want to help, but I want to be one of the 200 Ethiopian Jews that are going to fulfill their dream and go up to Jerusalem. The Mossad people told my brother, listen, it's a pilot. We will have more groups in the future, but in the meantime, we need your help. So my brother saw those people coming from Israel to save his community. He said, I must help them. And this is exactly what he did. He found, organized, and bring the 200 Ethiopian Jews from the list from Gondar to Addis Ababa. By the way, in the 70s, from Gondar to Addis Ababa by bus, it's about 3 days. He arrived with the group to Addis Ababa. He delivered the 200 Ethiopian Jews to the Mossad agent. And in June 1978, for the first time in the history of the Ethiopian Jews, 200 Ethiopian Jews coming to Israel legally. At that time, the foreign minister of Israel was Moshe Dayan. And Moshe Dayan had a press conference in Geneva. And one of the journalists asked him, does Ethiopia have a deal with Israel? Now we know it's a secret deal, which means Moshe Dayan was not supposed to speak about it at all. But unfortunately, and from a reason that we don't know and we will never know, because Moshe Dayan, may he rest in peace, no longer with us. But Moshe Dayan spoke freely about this deal in that press conference in Geneva. The next day, the dictator from Ethiopia was very upset, angry. The first thing that he did was to cancel the deal. The second thing that he did was to tell all the Mossad agents that are in the land of Ethiopia to leave immediately. But he did one more thing. He started to chase after all the Ethiopian Jews activists that took part in this deal. One of them is my brother. My brother became a wanted man in his own country. Now, to be a wanted man in Ethiopia in the 70s, under the regime of Mengistu Haile Mariam, it means that if they will catch you, you are a dead man. Now, when you know that your life is at risk, you will do everything in your power to save your life. So the only option of my brother was to escape. Let's see the map. My brother is in Gondar. The closest country to run to is Sudan. Now, Sudan is a Muslim country. It's not safe for a Jew to be there, but you can hide your identity as Jew. The other problem is the distance between Gondar to the capital city of Sudan, Khartoum. The distance, it's about 300 miles. Now, it's a problem when you don't have a car and there is no bus that will take you from Gondar to Sudan, which means you start in a journey walking 300 miles. It's crazy. It's tough. Very, very hard, even for a guy in the age of 30. My brother then was 30 years old. The main problem is that this area between Gondar and Sudan, it's a desert area. My brother, when he started the journey, so he took some amount of money, some food, water. He didn't know exactly how much time it will take him. So after a few days, it means less water, less food, less money. He didn't know that it will be very hard for him to walk during the day because of the sun. So it means he had to walk only at night. This journey took him more than 3 months, from Gondar to the capital city of Sudan, Khartoum. When he arrived to Khartoum, he was very weak, thirsty, hungry, dirty. The only thing that he had on him that worth something was his wedding ring, and he had a book with some addresses of some Mossad agent that he worked with a few months before in Ethiopia. He decided to sell the wedding ring. He earned some Sudanese lira. Now think about it. A guy, after a journey of more than 300 miles, having some amount of money, the first thing that he will do will be to buy food and water. My brother decided to take the money and to go to the main post office in Khartoum, Sudan, and to send letters to his contact telling them, it's me, Ferede Aklum. I'm in Khartoum, Sudan. Please save me. Now we're speaking about, it's already 1979, the beginning of 1979. A Jewish guy, a black guy in a Muslim country in East Africa sending a message. He's not sure that his message will arrive, but he's waiting. He's waiting 5 months, living as a homeless in the street of Khartoum. But after 5 months, his message arrived. Not only that his message arrived, the Mossad decided to send a young Mossad agent, Danny Limor, to save my brother from the street of Khartoum. It took Danny Limor 3 days to find my brother in Khartoum. He told him when he saw him first, I'm your ticket. Now we asked our brother, what was the happiest day of your life? We thought he will tell us the day of the birth of his first child or his wedding day. The happiest day of my brother's life was that day that he met Danny Limor, because he understood two things. One, Danny Limor just saved his life. The second thing that he understood is that Danny Limor will fulfill his dream to see Jerusalem. But my brother was a very interesting person. He didn't think only about himself. He said to himself, I escaped from Ethiopia, I came to Sudan, and here in Sudan, the government of Israel is saving me. He said, maybe there is a way to fulfill the dream for all the Ethiopian Jews to return back home to Zion after more than 2,500 years. So he told Danny, the Mossad agent, listen, Danny, by the way, you know that I'm not the only Jew here in Sudan. So instead of just taking one Jew, give me a month and I will find more and you will take as many more as you can. So Danny told him, okay, you have 1 month. My brother knew that there are no Jews in Sudan, but he wanted to earn time to bring more Jews from Ethiopia. He did a pilot on his family. And this group was the first group that came from Ethiopia to Sudan after my brother arrived to Sudan. He did the pilot on his family because if something would have happened wrong and they would die, then at least this is his family. But thank God, the 2 brothers and another uncle made it to Sudan, and my brother sent this photo back to the village of my family, to our mama and our father, as a proof that they made it to Sudan, and now this is their time to come. From 1979 until 1984, 20,000 Ethiopian Jews left everything behind and walked to the unknown, because no one promised them that in the end they will make it to Jerusalem. They left everything behind, their land, their house, their friends, their life, because they saw an opportunity. Life was good in Ethiopia. We never left Ethiopia because of economic problems or security problems. We left because we wanted to fulfill that dream, to return back home one day to Zion. And when that opportunity came, thousands of Ethiopian Jews left everything behind. I was 6 months old when my family started the journey. Now think about babies, think about adults that have to do a journey of 300 miles in the desert. In my village, there was an old man, 82 years old. His family asked him to stay, not to go out to the journey. The old man told his family, "I rather die on my way to Jerusalem, but I will not stay here." And he died. Out of the 20,000 Ethiopian Jews that left, 4,000 didn't make it and died on the way or in Sudan. When the Ethiopian Jews arrived to Sudan, they put them in refugee camps. And in those refugee camps, every day, between 10 to 20 people died because of the food that they gave them, disease in the refugee camps. Many Ethiopian Jewish women were raped by Sudanese soldiers. Now, the story that I'm telling you now, it's a story that unfortunately, even here in Israel, in my country, in your country, in my society, people don't know. People don't know how much the Ethiopian Jews had to sacrifice to be here, to return back home to Zion. Now, I will show you a video from the refugee camps in Ethiopia that will show you more how much we had to sacrifice to be here in Israel.
אני כותב את המכתב הזה לאנשים שלעולם לא יקראו אותו. זהו ניסיון נואש לעורר את זכרם שנשכח בתוך ים של זיכרונות עצובים בארץ מוכת האסונות הזו. הפסימיים יטענו שאני מעורר מתים, הציניקנים יצהלו שאני מגזים, אבל אני חרד שאתם תשכחו מבלי שאף אדם ישים לב. אתם לא 100 ולא 200, אלא 4,000 איש ואישה, זקנים וטף, שהאמינו שמקומם כאן. ניסיתם להגשים את חלומכם ויצאתם למסע רגלי מפרך, דרך ג'ונגלים סבוכים, נערות גויים ומדבריות אימתניים, שבהם רוצחים ואנסים מטילי אימה וחסרי לב. אבל נשארתם שם, במרחב האינסופי, קבורים בתוך אדמה זרה בקבר לא מסומן. לא מעט מכם מבלי שאיש הניח עפר על גופותיכם. אך למרות הסכנות, המשכתם לצאת בהמוניכם למסע שכמדומני לא היה כמותו מאז יציאת מצרים. צעדתם בלילות ובימים והגעתם אל סודן הארורה. סודן פערה את פיה ואימה לטרוף את כולנו מבלי להשאיר זכר. לא מעט מכם גרו בשכנות אליי, באותם מחנות פליטים שהפכו למלכודת מוות מדי בוקר עם זריחת השמש. גברים חסונים, אמהות רחומות וילדים שטרם טעמו את טעם החיים נבלו שם כפרחים בשמש. כמו כל אלה שהיו שם, נאלצתי לראות אתכם גובעים מול עיניי, וליוויתי אתכם לאותם מקומות מסתור שנקראו קברים. לא אשכח את הלילות בהם דנו איך להיפטר מגופותיכם בסתר, הרחק מעיניהם של גויים עוינים. לא אשכח את הימים בהם הפנים היו חרושות דמעות יבשות, ולא את רגעי הייאוש וחוסר האונים. לא אשכח איך כל דאגותיי היו לאלה שישארו בחיים אחריי, והצטרכו לסכן את עצמם בחיפוש אחר מקום לקבור את גופתי. בסודן הארורה איבדנו את כבודנו האנושי האחרון. משפחותיהם של אחדים מכם נמחקו כאילו לא נבראו מעולם. ילדים נותרו יתומים, הורים שקלו את ילדיהם, גברים איבדו את נשותיהם ונשים נותרו ללא בעלים. את כל זה עשיתם כדי להגיע אל ארץ נחלתכם, אך לשווא. בארץ שחלמתם לחיות בה, האנשים חיים בקצב מסחרר, והזיכרון שלהם קצר מאוד. אנשים שאפילו לא זוכרים את המלחמה של הקיץ האחרון, ובוודאי שאין להם זמן לזיכרון העבר. ואני חרד שזיכרונכם יישאר נחלת מעטים, ויתפוגג לו בחלוף הדור שחווה את המסע על בשרו.
So my community really made the ultimate sacrifice to return to Zion. In Israel, as you know, we celebrate Jerusalem Day, the release of Jerusalem from the Jordanian in 1967. It's been 53 years already. Ethiopian Jews remember the 4,000 Ethiopian Jews that didn't make it and died on the way. We remember them on Jerusalem Day. We have ceremonies all over the country. The main event is in Jerusalem with the President of Israel and the Prime Minister of Israel. And we have to remember them. We have to remember those that had a dream to return and to be here with us, but they didn't make it and they died somewhere in the desert between Ethiopia and Sudan. I came to Israel when I was one year old. I grew up in Beersheba. The first city that accepted the Ethiopian Jews was Beersheba. And to grow up here was not easy. I grew up in a neighborhood that her vast majority was Ethiopian Jews, more than 90%. The school that I went had the same amount, 90% Ethiopian Jews. It means that when you wake up in the morning and go to school, and from the school you go back to your home, all you see is your community. You don't really get to see the Israeli society. From time to time, there was a program like in this picture that they used to bring the other Israelis so that we will see them. By the way, right here, this is me over here. Also, when you put a lot of people from low economic status in one neighborhood, you will create a neighborhood that will have drugs, alcohol, crime, and violence. And this is the neighborhood that I grew up into. As a kid also, I had a lot of identity problems because in one hand, I'm a proud Jew, proud Israeli, but in the other hand, I didn't like the color of my skin when I was a kid because unfortunately, it's not easy to be a black man in a country that our vast majority are white, even though we live among our brothers and sisters. As a kid also, I was embarrassed of my parents because my parents came, they were old, They didn't speak Hebrew. They didn't have a decent job. And I remember that every time they needed help or wanting to go to that office or to the supermarket, they had to take me with them because I'm the one that's supposed to translate for them. So I look at my parents as weak parents. When I wanted help in homework, they were not able to help me because they don't know how to read and write. When I wanted new shoes, they were not able to provide me because they don't have money. So for me, they were weak parents, and I never heard or knew about their journey from Ethiopia to Sudan. As a kid, I always remember that they told us, and in school, they told us that the government of Israel saved us from Ethiopia and brought us to Israel, which is true. They did amazing stuff, but they never told us that our parents walked and left everything behind just to fulfill that dream. In the age of 18, as you all know, in Israel is mandatory and we have to go to the army. They're taking the best years in man life because from 18 to 21, that's the best years in a man life. In America, you guys going to the college, having fun, fraternities. And here they're giving us a gun, and we understand that, you know, we are living here and we know that our country is surrounded by a lot of countries that want to destroy us. So we accept that, but it's not easy. So I served in the Air Force as a firefighter for 3 years between the years of 98 till 2001. And after taking the best years of our life, we Israelis usually take 1 year off after the army. We're traveling in the world. I traveled to South Asia for 1 year. And then I came back. I did my degree in Ben Gurion University here in my city in Beersheba, in political science and government. And then I started to work in the education system. While I was working in the education system, I saw and realized how much the Israeli society doesn't know the story of the Ethiopian Jews. And when you don't know the story of the other person, you will have to have stereotype against him and negative things about him, especially when he is a black man. When I arrived to the age of 30, I did something that changed my life. I went back for the first time to our roots trip back to Ethiopia. I saw a beautiful country, really amazing and beautiful country. I went back to the village that I was born. I saw friends of my family. They told me about my father, who used to be a judge in the village. They told me about my mother. They told me how much they miss the Ethiopian Jewish community that used to live there. When I came back from that trip, I came back a different person. I came back even more proud Jew, proud Israeli. But for the first time in my life, I came back a proud black man. Black is beautiful. And when you have all those little identities in you and you accept them and you make them one, you know who you are and you know that you're worth something. And for us, it's very important because a lot of my generation had these identity problems. And when I came back, my dad was sick. He was in the hospital and he had a stroke, so he didn't speak. So the first thing to do will be to visit my dad in the hospital and tell him my experience. So I sat down with my father in the room in the hospital. I told him about my experience. I told him that I saw his house and that a lot of people sending him regards. I told my father one more thing. I told him that I love him and that I admire him and that he is a hero for me. Now, why it's so important? Because it took me more than 30 years to tell my dad that I'm proud of him. As I said before, we grew up knowing that the government of Israel saved us from Ethiopia and brought us to Israel. But when I came back, I knew that my parents left everything behind and they were rich. They were rich people in Ethiopia. They left everything behind. They walked in the desert 300 miles. Why? Why they did all this? Because they wanted to fulfill that dream. And for me, they are the real heroes. They are the real heroes. So I had to tell my dad that I admire him and that I love him. Unfortunately, 10 days after that, my dad passed away. But I really felt that I closed the circle with my dad. And I decided that time that I will devote my life to tell the story of my community. I was working in the education system and I had a very good job with good salary. But sometimes if you want to make change, especially change in your society, you have to take big risks. And I took a big risk. I decided to quit my job and to open my social venture, which is to tell the story of my community. In Israel, as you all know, we have lots of tribes, lots of communities, lots of people from lots of different places in the world, from America, from Canada, from Europe, from Africa, from Australia, name it, we have it here. I'm always saying that the biggest threat to the state of Israel, it's not the Palestinian, it's not the coronavirus, it's not Iran. The biggest threat is our society. Unfortunately, we don't know each other and we don't learn about each other. I don't know enough about the Jews from Russia, and the Jews from Russia don't know enough about the Jews from Ethiopia. The Jews from Ethiopia don't know enough about the Jews from Morocco, and the Jews from Morocco don't know enough about the Jews from the United States. The first temple destroyed because brothers hate each other. The same thing it's about to happen here if we will not do something about it. So I decided that I will tell the story of my community. First, because I think that it's about time that in Israel and abroad, people will know the story of my community. We have a beautiful, beautiful story of a community that did everything to return back home to Zion. And I believe that the more people will know the story of my community, it will also be something that we can fight against racism and discrimination, because unfortunately, racism and discrimination, it's a worldwide problem and it didn't skip my country. Now, I love my country. She's not perfect yet. So you have two options. Rather saying, okay, we have it here, let's not do nothing with it. Or you can say, I love my society, I want better future for my children and for the next generation, and I want to change it. So by educating the people about the Ethiopian Jewish community, I believe that we will minimize racism, discrimination, and police brutality. Marcus Garvey said, a man without the knowledge of his past origin and culture is like a tree without roots. I was a tree for 30 years, but without roots. Now I'm a tree with solid, strong roots. And this is what I want to deliver to the young generation of my community and to the Israeli society. When we were kids, my generation, as you can see, I have dreadlocks. Now, I have dreadlocks even before the army. I used to have them when I was 16, 17, and then I cut them and grow them up again after the army. Why do I have dreadlocks? When I was 16, 17, I was looking for role models from my community. Now, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, no one spoke about the Ethiopian Jews, about their journey. And we didn't find anyone that we can look up and say, oh, I want to be like him or I want to be like her. So that's why my generation had to go to America to see those black rappers, artists like Tupac or B.I.G. As Black people that became stars, and we can look up. I'm not a big fan of rap, but I'm a big fan of reggae music. So I had to go down south to that little island to saw this guy, Robert Naftali, as someone that I can look up to. But I can tell you, my friend, today, my generation, no, not my generation, this generation of today, don't have to go to America to see Black people that they can look up to. Because here in Israel, we have lots of people that they can look up to. One is my brother, who is a real hero, a real hero. The others are pilots, doctors. We have two Knesset members. One of them will be the first woman, will be the first minister from the Ethiopian Jewish community. So today, you will find a lot of people from the Ethiopian Jewish community that can be a role models. It's not like my days before. 3 years ago, I had a call from Hollywood telling me that they are working on a movie called The Red Sea Diving Resort. The Red Sea Diving Resort, it's a Hollywood movie sold to Netflix, telling the story of how the Mossad brought the Ethiopian Jews from Sudan to Israel. In this movie, we have actors like Chris Evans, Halle Bennett, Ben Kingsley. It's a great movie. And the one that played my brother in this movie, it's Michael K. Williams, an African-American player. By the way, this movie directed and written by Gideon Raff, director of Homeland, if you know him. It's on Netflix now if you want to watch the movie. This movie, unfortunately, is a movie that tells the story from one side, from the Mossad side. But for me, it was important that this movie will be out because when someone watching the movie, the first thing that he will do after watching the movie is to run to the computer and to Google Ethiopian Jews because he will want to know more. It's this movie raising the awareness of the story of the Ethiopian Jews. And for me, it was the most important thing. This movie also show, and I will speak now as a Black man, in the history of Black people, whenever they left the continent of Africa, it was unfortunately always because of one reason, to be slaves in some other place. For the first time in the history of Black people left the continent of Africa with the Ethiopian Jews. Black people that left the continent of Africa not to be slaves, but to be free and to go back to their home. This is the trailer of the movie. My brother was a Mossad agent from 1979 until 2003. Unfortunately, in 2009, he passed away in Ethiopia when he was 60 years old. Today, he's a very well-known person here in Israel. You will find street, gardens, squares after his name. In my community, we call him Little Moses because he was the one that opened the gates for the Ethiopian Jews. We wrote this book called The Power of One that tells the story of my brother from his early childhood until the day he passed away, from its original Hebrew to English. So if you want to buy this book, contact me or contact Matthew or Rabbi Yaakov Giber, and I will be able to send it to you. The Power of One. That's a square and a garden after my brother's name in Beersheba, in my city. And that's the book, The Power of One. And I guess that's it. Thank you so much. May God bless America. May God bless Israel. And happy Independence Day. Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach. Toda.
Wow. Wow. Naftali, you've left us all speechless. Goosebumps the entire time. What an incredible, riveting, inspiring, spellbounding story that you just told over with such passion and such vigor. I for one, don't know that it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning where you are, because you just like lit a fire here with such unbelievable, with an incredible story of
Yeah, always, when we're speaking about.
So I would just reiterate what Naftali just said here at the end. Anybody who wants to, order that unbelievable book, I want to get it. I want a copy of that book, and because we should all have a copy of that book. Anybody here on this broadcast, The Power of One, please let me know or Matthew know. We'll make arrangements for everybody to get a copy of this important book. Everybody to have, and the memory of your brother, little Moses, and certainly the heroic efforts that your family made and your community and our brothers and sisters made. Wow. I mean, just from the outset with the Prime Minister's remarks and throughout your just presentation with the history and everything, we could not be more thankful to you. What an unbelievable justice to the story and an incredible inspiration that you are.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Really, really. So here I'll just end by saying this final thing, which is not only have you made our Yom HaAtzmaut meaningful and appreciate Medinat Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael and Heinu B'nai Yisrael, you made it so meaningful, but I will do this. We look forward to meeting you in Israel live and in person. But when you will come to South Florida and when you'll come to Boca Raton, you'll be our guest, and we'll look forward to welcoming you for Shabbat and welcoming you to our community. And we look forward to meeting again, please God, soon. But I thank you so very much for taking this time. Good night, good morning.
I'm looking forward. I miss the community.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing Yom
HaAtzmaut. I'm going to sleep now.
Go to sleep. Enjoy. Laila Tov. Yom HaAtzmaut. Thank you so much, Naftali.
Rabbi Yaakov Giber.
We love you, Tzaddik. We'll be in touch. Lots of love.
Thank you. Am Yisrael Chai.
And thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. And we look forward to being in touch together with other great, fabulous programming. Naftali, Laila Tov, Yom HaAtzmaut Sameach to one and to all.
Laila Tov. Toda Rabba.
Bye. Toda Rabba Lecha.